Imagine a world where the story of a man, preached for centuries, was seen by many as a legend. Such a great figure that his own historical existence was, for some, only a myth. Now imagine that the most rigorous tools of modern science, archaeology, could dig up the truth, not in ancient texts or traditions, but in tangible evidence, in stone and earth. Get ready for a fascinating journey. It is not about blind faith, but about the inseparable connection between faith and history. It is the union of legend with the proof, the account with the artifact. Let's travel through dusty excavations, analyze ancient inscriptions, and examine artifacts that reveal the historical truth behind man, who, according to tradition, changed the world, Jesus of Nazareth. Get ready for a documentary that will take you to the 1st century and dig up the truth behind myth. Welcome to the crossroads between history, faith, and science. Archaeology is our time machine, a portal that brings us directly to the past, bringing to light objects and evidence that helps confirm or contest old reports. In the case of Jesus of Nazareth, the central figure of Christianity, archaeological research in recent decades has become one of the greatest allies in the search for its historical existence. For many, Jesus is a divine figure, but for history, it is a figure that needs evidence, context, evidence. While faith is based on spiritual beliefs and testimonies, archaeology is based on tangible evidence, in objects we can see, touch, analyze, and date. Several archaeological discoveries, many of them made in recent decades, connect directly to the time, the environment, and the people of the New Testament, offering concrete evidence of their historical existence. In this video, let's not just talk about faith, but we will explore the main archaeological evidence that supports the life and impact of this character, that, regardless of its deity, is undeniably the most influential in Western history. Let's look at 5 crucial discoveries, understand why they are important, and what they tell us about the 1st century Judea. Get ready for a trip of discoveries that can strengthen your conviction or simply enrich your historical knowledge. With each artifact, with each inscription, with each ruin, the image of Jesus of Nazareth will become clearer, more real, more humane, and more historical. In 1961, archaeologist Antonio Frova led an excavation in maritime Caesarea, the ancient Roman capital in Judea. His team was working on the staircase of a Roman theater, a place of great historical importance, when they came across an extraordinary artifact, a black basalt stone, reused as part of the staircase. The stone seemed, at first glance, to be just another piece of old building material. But when cleaned and examined, a Latin inscription was revealed. Although fragmented, the inscription contained the names of Tiberium in honor of Emperor Tiberius, and unequivocally the name of Pontius Pilate. The complete inscription, rebuilt, said something like, "Tiberium to the gods, dedicated to the people of Caesarea, Pontius Pilatus, mayor of Judea." This was one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century for biblical archaeology. Before 1961, there was no concrete archaeological evidence of the existence of Pontius Pilate outside the New Testament and the writings of historians such as Tacitus and Josephus. Many skeptics argued that Pilate was a semi-mythological figure created to give a historical context to the crucifixion. The stone of Pilate, therefore, silenced these theories. She not only confirmed that Pilate was a real historical figure, but also that he held the exact position mentioned in the Gospels, that of mayor of Judea, which would give him the authority to sentence Jesus to death. Registration, although not mentioning Jesus directly, is a crucial pillar that sustains the historical narrative of the Gospels, connecting one of the most important characters of the New Testament to the real world of ancient Rome. It shows that the political, social, and religious world described in the New Testament was a real world, and that the characters who interacted with Jesus were people of flesh and bone. The stone, now exposed at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, is a silent testimony of the historicity of the Gospels. In 2002, the world of archaeology was shaken by another monumental discovery, though more controversial, the so-called Ossuary of James. A bone is a stone box, usually limestone, used in the Second Temple period to store a person's bones after body decomposition. This particular ossuary, which emerged in the Jerusalem antique market, contained an Aramaic inscription that, translated, said James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus. Registration was examined by some of the world's leading experts in paleography, who confirmed the authenticity of writing. The controversy, however, arose about the authenticity of the inscription, brother of Jesus. Some skeptics stated that the inscription was later added to increase the value of the artifact. However, a deeper analysis showed that the inscription was made by the same hand and in the same period. The probability of a bone belonging to a James, who had a father named Joseph and a brother named Jesus, in the same region and in the same period is statistically very low. What makes Tiago's bone so important is that he gives us a direct and tangible connection with the family of Jesus. The fact that James was known as brother of Jesus shows that Jesus was such an important figure that his name was used to identify his brother. The artifact offers us a tangible glimpse of the family of Jesus in a way that very few other documents of the time can. Although discussions about the ossuary continue, it remains one of the most fascinating and provocative findings that connect the biblical narrative directly to a historical artifact. When we read the Gospels, the life of Jesus is often associated with two cities, Nazareth, where he grew up, and Capernaum, where he established his ministry. For centuries, some scholars wondered whether these cities really existed, or if they were just symbolic names. Thanks to archaeology, these doubts were dissipated. In Nazareth, excavations revealed ruins of first-century Jewish dwellings, including a tomb, a wine place, and a press of olive oil. These findings show that Nazareth was, in fact, a small Jewish village, confirming the humble and real context in which Jesus grew up. In Capernaum, the situation is even more impressive. Archaeology has revealed a first-century synagogue built with black basalt, which is one of the oldest ever found. Jesus is believed to have preached there, as mentioned in the Gospels. In addition, the ruins of fishermen's homes and a house that the Christian tradition identifies as Peter's house, which over time was transformed into a place of worship. These findings give us a visual and physical context for biblical accounts, showing that the events described in the Gospels occurred in real places and inhabited by real people. The houses, synagogues, and the streets of Capernaum and Nazareth have become a kind of scenario to the history of Jesus, bringing it into life in an unprecedented way. In addition to direct artifacts, stone inscriptions and ancient manuscripts help contextualize the existence of Jesus. One of the most important findings of the 20th century was the Dead Sea manuscripts found in caves near Qumran. These manuscripts, which date from a period prior to Jesus, reveal the religious and social practices of the first century Judaism, confirming the cultural environment in which Jesus lived and preached. They give us an invaluable view of the religious tensions and beliefs of the time, which shaped the thinking of Jesus' disciples and influenced the development of early Christianity. In the monuments and places near Jerusalem, stone inscriptions speak of messianic groups of the time, which helps to understand the turbulent political and religious scenario in which Jesus stood out. The world of Jesus was a world of prophets, miracles, healing, and messianic expectations. He did not emerge in the vacuum. He was a man of his time. Archaeological discoveries and ancient manuscripts help to fill the gaps and show that biblical accounts fit perfectly into the history and culture of the first century Judea. Other discoveries, although less dramatic, help to compose a faithful portrait of the time. The ossuary of the high priest Caiaphas, found in 1990, confirms the existence of one of Jesus' main opponents. Stone inscriptions and coins of the period confirm the names of other rulers and religious leaders mentioned in the Gospels. The Jerusalem aqueduct, the cistern's net, and even the Siloé pool, where Jesus healed a blind, were found and excavated. Each artifact, however small, reinforces the reality of Judea in the first century and creates a tangible historical context for the life of Jesus. These indirect evidence, coupled with direct evidence, such as the stone of Pilate, create a solid basis for the historical existence of Jesus, removing unfounded myths and theories that have emerged over the centuries. Archaeology does not prove the divinity of Jesus, but proves that he was a royal figure who lived, preached, and died in a real time and place. The union of archaeology, history, and faith gives us a deeper understanding of the figure of Jesus of Nazareth. Archaeological evidence are concrete evidence that confirms the existence of Jesus of Nazareth. They connect history, faith, and science in a royal narrative, showing that the figure of Jesus is not a myth, but a man who lived in a specific time and place. And so the story continues to be written. Each discovery brings us closer to a deeper understanding of our past, revealing connections that seemed lost forever. The tireless work of archaeologists and academics gives us a chance to rewrite the story more accurately, unveiling the mysteries that shaped our world. If you were inspired by this journey through history and science, be sure to enjoy this video. Leave your comment with your opinion about the discoveries, and, of course, subscribe to the channel so as not to lose our next expedition. The next discovery may be closer than you think.